It's fine to learn broadly. Like I've said, I've pretty much tried just about every type of photography. But once you decide what you don't want to do, then you can start specifically marketing what you do want to do. Welcome to Off the Memory Card, the podcast where photographers talk about everything but taking photos, because photography is only 10% photos and 90% building a life and business you love. I'm Cathleen Burns. Let's dive in. You'd think that after more than 11 years of doing this photography thing, I'd have it all figured out. But guess what? I do not. Honestly, I'm still learning constantly. I've spent every episode this month interviewing other photographers whom I see as true experts in their specific niche. I've had a sports photographer, a B2B photographer, and a newborn photographer. And I definitely plan on doing more of these episodes, but I want to take a moment, pause, and really focus in on a few of the main takeaways so far and just kind of unpack what I've personally learned and how I plan to use that knowledge in the future. So this episode is all about what they taught me. But I want to start by squashing any kind of theory that learning is just for beginners. That is absolutely never the case. The moment you think you know enough, you plateau. This means both on the business side of things as well as the creative side. On the business side, there are always new or different marketing techniques to try, new software options to learn, different pricing methods to look into. And I will admit, I am someone who is not always a creature of change. Once I learn something and I'm comfortable with it, it takes a lot of pushing myself to try something new. But it's something I make myself do because I refuse to run a stagnant business. Now, on the creative side, oh my goodness, it is impossible to use up all of your creativity or your imagination. Seriously, it's like one of those plants that once it really starts growing, it's difficult to control, like kudzu. I don't know if you've ever heard of this, but we had it on the hill behind my house when I was growing up. And it's this vine that just spreads and covers everything in its path. It drove my parents insane. Not saying you should drive anyone crazy, but my point is let your creativity be like kudzu. And that requires you to never stop learning. Okay, so back to what I have learned the past few weeks. Number one, say no to what doesn't light you up. I know I've talked about this whole saying no thing in the past, and I have become pretty good at it. But after talking with these other photographers, I realized there are still a lot of things I'm saying yes to that I need to nip in the bud. 3 or 4 years ago, we stopped booking weddings, but I will still occasionally take on an elopement. It just takes a couple of hours of my time. But the more I think about it, that doesn't really line up with the business I'm wanting to run. And I'm not sure how to explain that other than it just doesn't light me up. Now, don't get me wrong, I love and the intimacy of a small ceremony. Please feel free to invite me to yours without my camera. Because as a photographer, it's just something I'm no longer interested in doing. The quick side note, I do have one of these scheduled in October that I am excited about. So if that bride happens to listen to this for whatever reason, please ignore this. But after that one, though, we probably will not be booking elopements any longer. Some other things I already say no to include volume sports photography and real estate photography. But the other day I was looking at my schedule and I noticed certain sessions that I'm just not looking forward to, like prom photos. And it really has nothing to do with them being prom and everything to do with them happening on Saturday evenings. The main reason we stopped shooting weddings in the first place was to have more family time on the weekends. But here I am booking sessions for nearly every Saturday in the spring. So this is very likely the last year we'll be doing prom photos. Now, if you are fairly new in photography, this may not be the best approach. We spent years trying out new things just to see what we liked and what we didn't. But I think once you realize something isn't the right fit, it's totally fine to admit that you've outgrown it or to not make it part of your business in the first place. If you do, you will likely burn out and you risk doing mediocre work rather than great work. And this leads right into the second lesson I learned this month, and that is to make space for what you love. This was direct advice from newborn photographer Allison Atkins, who was on last week's podcast. She said that by saying no to other types of photography, she made more space for newborns, which is what she loves. Because saying no is not the end goal, making space is. If your calendar is full of meh, then there's no room for the heck yes things that you want to do. Like when we stopped doing weddings and we suddenly had weekends to spend time with our family, or relax, or sometimes just catch up on editing. And making space doesn't necessarily just mean more time to do the sessions you want to do, but also more time for things like marketing, staying caught up on editing, and of course, making sure your personal life doesn't suffer. Okay, the number 3 lesson that I've learned this month is to challenge the belief that we should be jack of all trades, master of none. I'm not saying I plan on niching down to one particular type of photography. I definitely still want to do work with families, kids, maternity, newborn, seniors, even headshots. But if I take on a lot of other random types of sessions, I become a generalist photographer, which is the opposite of expert. And I definitely want to be seen as an expert. I think specializing in just certain areas helps build trust with your clientele. They know they can expect a professional, fun, and creative experience with you because you're the expert. It's fine to learn broadly. Like I've said, I've pretty much tried just about every type of photography. But once you decide what you don't want to do, then you can start specifically marketing what you do want to do. The clearer you are, the easier it is for people to hire you. So those are my 3 main takeaways right now. As I chat with more photographers, I'm sure I will learn more lessons because learning never stops at any level. And just like you, I'm still refining, still adjusting, still learning. So I want to encourage you to stay curious and open and don't get too comfortable. The best photographers will never tell you that they know everything because they are still learning too. So this actually makes my 15th episode. I've been consistently releasing one each week since the last week of January, and I truly hope they're resonating with people. If you've found any inspiration or good advice from this podcast, or you even just enjoy listening to it, I have a small favor to ask. Please leave me a review. Something as simple as that can help this podcast spread and hopefully inspire others as well. Thank you so much for listening and have a fantastic week. Thanks for listening to Off the Memory Card. Don't forget to subscribe. And if you'd like some more support on your photography journey, head over to usethatcamera.com.